Welcome to Sharika Talks, Unraveling the Truth, a journalist's quest. Subscribe for the truth.
Chapter 31, The Voice of Innocence. Go, Jupiter, go! Catch it! Don't fail! Venus, fly fast! Sharika heard the shouts just as a paper airplane fluttered past her. In the next instant, two sugar gliders dashed toward her, one on each side, then whooshed past. She looked. The sound had come from a tiny girl running toward her, joy lighting up her face. The girl wore a rose-colored top and shorts with flowers embroidered on it. Her hair was short and jet black. A dark blue slide clipped it to one side. Her front teeth were missing, making her smile all the more charming. "Alice?" Sharika breathed, recognizing her. The girl she had seen in the video call that morning. She skidded to a halt, and the two sugar gliders, their race seemingly finished, crawled back to her feet and climbed up to her shoulders. Sharika quickly wiped the tears from her cheeks, hoping the little girl hadn't noticed. "Are you crying, Dee Dee?" Alice asked, her innocent voice cutting through Sharika's sorrow. No, I wasn't crying," Sharika replied, a faint smile forming. She noted that Alice called her Dee Dee, the Hindi word for elder sister, while speaking in English. "Papa told me he would bring you here tomorrow, but I didn't know you would come today," Alice said excitedly. "I really like your hair and your nose," she squealed, reaching out to give Sharika's nose a light, playful pinch. Sharika closed her eyes and let out a genuine, warm smile. "Venus, Jupiter, say hello to Rishika Didi," Alice commanded. The two sugar gliders chirped in resonance with her happy sounds. Then, out of nowhere, four more sugar gliders flew toward her from a nearby pillar, all screeching in unison. "Mercury has the red dot on his head and silver body," Alice explained, pointing to each one. "Pluto has the white patch, Saturn has four ring-like stripes on her gray body, and Mars has the red body with a brown patch." She introduced all of her friends to Sharika. "Before, I only had Venus and Jupiter. Then one day, Jupiter's belly got so swollen. I was so worried, but Papa said she would be all right and would have new family members soon. After a month, they were there, so tiny it was so hard to even see them. Then they grew, as big as Venus and Jupiter." Seeing the girl's pure, unfiltered joy, Sharika suddenly saw a reflection of her younger self, the girl she was before that terrible day took her parents. The innocent happiness of this child helped, at least temporarily, to push back the sorrow. Alice picked up her paper airplane. All six sugar gliders chirped in excitement. "They like to race with them," she said. "Aha!" Sharika exclaimed, deciding to play along. A few minutes with Alice would be the perfect antidote to her spiraling thoughts. She watched as Alice threw the plane and the gliders gave chase, and she saw how Alice rewarded the winners with tiny treats. She scooped them back, placed them on a high perch, and repeated the game. She insisted Sharika give them treats too, and even let her fly a paper airplane. "Do you know how to make them, Dee Dee?" Alice asked. "No. Can you teach me?" Sharika lied, wanting to encourage the little girl. Alice was even more excited. She grabbed Sharika's hand and pulled her through a side passage into a room. The walls were covered with images of butterflies, and Mercury and Mars were now perched happily on Sharika's shoulders. It was Alice's room. She carefully placed the sugar gliders inside a large cage that took up almost half the room. There were a lot of small bonsai trees and toys for the sugar gliders in the cage, which they started flying and playing with, chirping noisily. Then she pulled out a large, thin diary with a black back cover. She fiercely opened it to the very end. Sharika noted that all the pages were empty, but some were torn. The last few pages were filled with illustrations for making nearly 100 different paper airplanes. Without a second thought, Alice pulled a blank page from the diary itself and started teaching Sharika. "It was Hachi uncle who taught me all this. This is his book. He gifted it to me because I cried and said I needed it. Because back then I thought it was magic. And airplanes from this magic book only would fly." Sharika laughed and lost herself in Alice's innocent smile and the intricate airplane models. After some time, Alice introduced her to her mother in the kitchen, who greeted Sharika warmly, then walked off to the hall to light the fireplace. Like Rocky said, it was becoming so cold, and the fire started warming the place. Alice then insisted Sharika take the sugar gliders out to play again. They went back to the grand hall and threw their newly made paper airplanes. Lacking experience, Sharika's plane flew slowly in a gentle arc. The sugar gliders easily overtook it and came back for their treats while the plane was still airborne. She watched its slow, meandering flight. Although she felt somewhat better, she wasn't able to fully escape the void. As the airplane slowly descended, she realized it was heading for the large, crackling fireplace. She ran like a child to save it, with Alice right behind her, but it was too late. The fire swallowed the paper. "Oh no, it burned," Alice exclaimed. "But it's okay, Dee Dee. We can make more. That model was always slow. Let's make a faster one next." But Sharika didn't hear a single word. Her eyes were fixed on the fire, a page curling black. Then the door opened, and three tall men stepped in. "Look whom I found." Riaz's voice echoed. Sharika didn't register the door. She didn't hear them walking in. She was still staring into the flames. She didn't know if it was a hallucination or real, but she saw it. Writing on the burning paper she was sure was blank before. But the most curious thing was the writing was not in Hindi or English, but Malayalam, her mother tongue, the language of Kerala. Just as Riaz neared and was about to touch her shoulder, it clicked. "Hachi, uncle. Hachi." The way a 4-year-old might try to say an unfamiliar name. An electric shock shot through her. The next moment, she jumped with fear with a loud gasp as Riaz's hand touched her. What happened, Rishika?" he asked, concerned. It took her a moment to come back to reality. "Oh, sorry, nothing. I was just thinking about the interview questions." "I need to work," she replied, trying to hide her racing thoughts. "Work can wait, Rishika. Let's have dinner now," Adam said, walking in with Riaz. "And by the way, I think I don't have to reintroduce you to this close friend of mine." Sharika was stunned to see the towering figure of Balninder Singh, who greeted her warmly. The last time she had seen him was during the Shadow Tears documentary, and she still remembered the vivid nightmare of Sachin killing him. Sharika noticed that all three of them had indeed celebrated, really. As they sat around the dining table, Rocky also joined them for a dinner of boar, venison, and chicken. "My father, who is a teetotaler, won't allow alcohol inside this main building, so if you want a bottle of wine, come to our bar outside, Rishika," Adam, who was sitting near Sharika, told her as he began eating. "No, thank you. I'm okay for now," she replied dreamily. Although Sharika liked the food, she couldn't focus, her mind consumed by Hachi Uncle's diary. She made the conversations and replied automatically in a robotic manner. After dinner, Adam showed her to her room. Her bags were already there. He turned on an electric heater in the room. She took out a pack of chocolate the previous day to give Alice. She was time. Then, after almost half an hour, she finally asked and made Alice agree to let her borrow the diary for one night. She told her she wanted to study paper airplane art. She promised not to tear any pages. She also had collected the paper airplane which Alice first threw at her. It was 10 p.m. when she finally left Alice and others and closed the door of her room, which was now fully warm from the electric heater. There was an unlit fireplace near it, too. The black-bound diary in hand, she was deep in thought as she opened her MacBook. She had exactly 12 hours to prepare the interview questions, but her mind wasn't on it. All she wanted was to read the diary of Hachi Uncle. But first, she had to work out how to make the letters appear without burning the page with the things she had on hand. And she was sure if she succeeded, she would get the answers she wanted to let her escape the void. End of chapter 31.
Thank you for watching Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest. Subscribe to stay updated on Sharika's journey. Stay tuned for the next part.
Disclaimer. Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest is a work of fiction. The experiences, ideas, and theories presented by the characters, including the books they write, are purely fictional and do not reflect real-world events, beliefs, or ideologies. While some incidents and characters may be inspired by real-world scenarios, they are entirely fictionalized for storytelling purposes. The author does not endorse or share the viewpoints expressed by any character in this novel. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised.